Now, Donald Trump's cabinet is starting to take shape with several key appointments today, including Tom Homan as the new border czar. It's going to be his job to regain control of the US borders and oversee the deportation, too, of illegal migrants that Trump has promised. Homan's known for his no-nonsense approach.
I got to go back and help because every morning I get up, every morning I'm pissed off about what this administration did to the most secure border in my lifetime. So I'm going to go back and do what I can to fix it.
Yeah, now this bloke is experienced, and as you heard, he's determined to fix the problem. Kristin Tate reckons he's the man for the job.
If there's one person who can fix this crisis, it's Tom Homan. This was a perfect choice by Trump. Homan started out as a cop and then worked his way up through the ranks in Border Patrol. And this is going to happen, Chris. There's a mandate here for deportations. Polls have found that the majority of Americans, that includes Democrats, support mass deportations at this point. 54% of the population, that includes 86% of Republicans. There should be no question that this is what needs to be done. I expect to see them focused first on the hardened criminals, getting them out of the country to stop the flow of drugs, particularly fentanyl, and then perhaps broadening that effort out to other illegal immigrants in the country as well.
Now, another crucial appointment, in my view, is for the UN ambassador's role. I suppose it matters less for the domestic political debate in the US, but it certainly matters for how the US projects to the world, and especially when you look at the UN's weakness on issues like the Middle East. It's going to be great to have a strong ambassador there. We did have Nikki Haley under Donald Trump previously. I thought she was a fantastic ambassador in the UN, but of course she was very antagonistic towards Donald Trump when she ran against him in the primaries. Here's some of what she had to say.
We don't need two 80-year-old candidates running for president. We need someone who can serve 8 years, disciplined, strong, no volatility, no drama, no vindictiveness. Just get the job done for the American people.
And Kristin, Nikki Haley's tried to soften her language in the last few months, tried to ingratiate herself back into the Trump camp, but he's having none of it. She will not get a job.
Correct. And she's not really aligned with where the heart of the Republican Party is right now. She's very much seen as sort of a warmonger Republican of the 1990s, if you will. If you talk to the real movers and shakers in the Republican Party and just in the conservative movement, people like Tucker Carlson, these folks don't have a particularly favorable view of Nikki Haley. Yeah, I mean, now that it's convenient for her to do so, she's softened her language about Trump, but I don't see her having any role in a Trump administration moving forward, at least for the next few years.
Yeah, so the UN ambassador is going to be a Republican upcomer from New York State, Elise Stefanik. So we'll have to watch and see how she performs. I want to go to the reaction. You must have been lapping up the reaction of the Liberal left in the US as they try and digest what has happened. Have a look at this on CNN talking about the reaction in the bureaucracy.
We are in a new dystopian hellscape. That is from a federal employee via text message last night, and that is the mindset of many of the 2 million federal workers anticipating Donald Trump's return to office.
A dystopian hellscape, Kristin. In other words, the end of big government, perhaps?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, the federal government has gotten way too big in this country. It's the nation's largest employer. That news anchor was not even correct. It's 2.7 million people who are employed by the federal government. And that doesn't even count the millions more contractors and other people who are, de facto employees of the federal government. The swamp needs to be drained. This is not about demonizing individuals who work for the federal government. This is about creating a government that works for the people. Elon Musk is going to be in charge of downsizing the swamp in the federal government. Think about this, Chris. When he bought Twitter, Elon Musk fired 80% of the staff, and Twitter, now X, runs better than it ever has now. So he should probably do something similar with the federal government. And he has said publicly that if he does so, or he helps Trump do so, these federal employees will be given very cushy packages when they are sent packing, hopefully, so that people have time to find new jobs. But the federal government has just gotten way too big, way too powerful, and not accountable anymore to the American people. So it's got to be downsized significantly.
Well, it's a reminder that good satire usually tells us uncomfortable truths. I want to revisit this bit of satire from last week that shows us the Democrats weren't really trying to defend democracy. They were trying to defend bureaucracy.
If the Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
I love it. And Kristin, let's hope that Elon Musk can shake up the bureaucracy for the benefit of people, not for the detriment of people, of course. I just want to get your thoughts on what we're learning about the campaign. A bit of this came out during the campaign and people weren't certain of whether it was factual or not, but it now seems very clear that the Democrats weren't just getting these big celebrity endorsements and pop stars of Beyonce and the others all sort of turning up and singing songs at Kamala Harris's rallies. These people were getting paid for the privilege, big dollars.
That's exactly right. And in fact, the campaign, despite all the billions of dollars that were raised, is now in debt because of all of these payments. And I don't even suspect that these celebrity endorsements did anything to help Kamala Harris. Chris, I mean, the vast majority of Americans, they look at people like Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and they see completely out of touch, self-obsessed, rich celebrities. And when these rich celebrities lecture to us and wave their fingers in our face and tell us that we're bad, racists, xenophobes, that turns a lot of voters off, actually. It doesn't really help Kamala Harris. So that was a big waste of money, spending all those tens of millions of dollars on these horrible people, these celebrities who just love to lecture the rest of us average Americans.
And, of course, later in the week, we're looking forward to Joe Biden. He's going to fight his way off the beach, back into the White House and meet with Donald Trump. We'll have more on that later in the week. Thanks for joining us, Kristin.
Thank you very much, Chris.